Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Chase here at Rocky Mountain. Thank you for checking in, and welcome to our 2023 mid-level helmet buyer's guide. Now, look, when it comes to helmets, there's a lot of great options, and the advice that I always give is buy the best helmet that you can afford and buy a helmet that you think is going to make you safe when you ride. If it makes you feel that way, more power to you. Now, that being said, even if you can afford a premium level helmet, does that mean you absolutely have to go buy the most expensive helmet? Personally, I don't really think so because, when we've seen helmet technology advance so much over the years, what's really cool is that companies like Fly and Klim and Leatt and all these companies, they're doing a phenomenal job of taking a lot of the technology from their premium helmet and trickling that down into their mid-level and even sometimes entry-level helmets. So you don't necessarily have to spend all that money on a premium helmet unless you absolutely want to. That being said, today we're just going to go through and I'm going to help you decide which helmet might be best for you. Now I'm going to start with helmets that are in that mid $200 range, and we're going to work our way up into the more expensive, getting close to $600 around there. So if I'm starting at what is kind of your max budget, go watch the entry-level helmet buyer's guide, because in that video I leave off around this price range, so you can kind of think of this mid-level guide as a continuation of the entry-level guide. If you have one of the helmets that we're going to talk about today, I would love to know which one you have. What do you like? What do you dislike about it? That's going to help other riders out that are looking to pick up their next helmet. All right, that being said, let's kick it off with the first helmet that we have up here. This is the Lee Designs SE4 MIPS. And fun fact, SE stands for speed equipment. I bet a lot of you didn't know that. But what's cool about the SE4 MIPS is that, one, I just love TLD's colorways. I mean, if you could see this helmet I'm pointing at right now in person, it is so freaking cool. There's actually some glitter in some of the paint, so TLD just always crushed it with the colorways. But on top of that, like I said, it looks very, very similar to their SE5 Carbon, which is their premium helmet. So it's a very good looking helmet, shares the same shell design. But when you get to the inside, here's what matters, is the safety features. So inside here, you have a 3-piece EPS liner, and each piece is a different density. And the purpose for that is that certain areas you're more likely to have an impact when you do crash. So they want to put the correct density where it matters most. So you've got that combined with the MIPS liner system, which stands for Multi-Directional Impact Protection System. Most of you out there have probably heard of MIPS. It is a slip plane in between the comfort liner and the EPS, which is just to help the rider's head slip just a little bit for those angular impacts to help mitigate those forces. And on top of that, you can see big old vent underneath the visor, really good venting design. And the last thing about this helmet that I love is that when Lee first came out with this, they really bragged about how in key areas they put as much EPS liner in the helmet as they could. So if you look at, say, this right here, this brow area, it is thicker than the other helmets that are up here because they put more EPS in the areas that they felt that it mattered most. So phenomenal helmet. You're in the mid $200, great value. Moving on from there, you have the Leatt 7.5. And what I love about Leatt is that from the 7.5, their 8.5, their 9.5, even the 3.5, is that all their helmets, almost all of them, the 2.5 doesn't, but most of their helmets come with a pair of goggles. So not only do you get a great helmet, but you also get a set of goggles to match. So it's kind of like icing on the cake when you buy your new helmet. But this one's going to be right around that $300 price. But what's cool about Leatt is you get a good venting design. I've tried this helmet on. It's very comfortable. In fact, I've tried all these on. I've ridden in a lot of these too. All of them are comfy. All of them fit true to size. I'll tell you about our fit guarantee here in just a moment. But with the Leatt, you have a 4-density EPS liner, so even more than you get with the TLD. And then another unique feature with Leatt is the use of their 360 turbines. These are little blue circular things inside here. And there's two important key reasons for those. One is it's going to help absorb more energy when you have those impacts just straight up and down. But also, it acts like the MIPS liner system where it helps to reduce those rotational forces. So it's kind of Leatt's spin on MIPS using those 360 turbines. But like I said, it's a great helmet, super comfortable, great safety, and you get a set of goggles that will come included to match the colorway. Now right here in the middle, this is the Klim F3 Carbon Pro. You jump up to about $500 with this helmet. However, there is just the F3 Carbon, which is about $100 less. So definitely be sure to check that one out. But the reason that this one is up here is because it is the lightest helmet that I have weighed here at Rocky Mountain and that I've worn. In fact, a size medium is like 2 pounds. It's less than 2 pounds, 7 ounces, which is incredibly lightweight. And for riders that spend all day on the bike, if you're doing all day rides, you know, you're gonna notice that. You're gonna have less fatigue on your head with the lighter helmet. So for riders that do that or trail riders, it could be a really good option. Now, I do want to point out that the F3 Carbon Pro is only ECE certified, is not DOT compliant. So if you do plan to ride this, or, you know, just know that it's not compliant for roads and off, you know, highways here in the United States. Just something to keep in mind. But the way they make this helmet so dang lightweight is you have a full carbon fiber shell. You've got a multi-density EPS liner on the inside, but on top of that, they use a material called Koroyd. It's the only company that I've seen that uses Koroyd inside their helmets. What's cool about the Koroyd, does two things really well. One is the ventilation. I think this is probably one of the best venting helmets because of the use of that Koroyd, because when you look at it, you can see what it is actually tubes that are laser welded together, and it absorbs energy, but unlike EPS, air can flow directly through it. And so you get really good airflow inside this helmet. But also what's nice about Koroyd is that it compresses homogeneously. And what I mean by that is that with EPS, when it compresses, it gets firmer and firmer. But with Koroyd, it has the same basically rate of compression, or it doesn't get nearly as hard or firm up like that as it compresses. So it does a great job of absorbing energy, also has phenomenal air circulation. And the last thing I do want to point out too is their Fidlock chin strap system. So it's a one-handed chin strap operation. It's magnetic. It actually works really, really good. And for riders that you're taking your helmet on and off a lot, so again, if you're doing an all-day ride, you're trail riding, and every time you stop, you want to pop your helmet off real quick, no helmet is going to be easier to take off and on than the F3 Carbon Pro. So great helmet. All right, next up is the Bell Moto 9 S Flex. So for years, Bell had their Moto 9 Carbon Flex, which was their flagship model. Now they have their Moto 10, which took the place as their flagship helmet. But what's cool is that Bell, they took that Carbon Flex, and what they did is they just made a composite shell versus full carbon fiber, but this helmet still retained all the key safety technology that was in the Moto 9 Carbon Flex. So this helmet is pretty much is what Bell's flagship model used to be. And what's cool is that on the inside, you have a 3-layer liner system. And they have an EPS, an EPO, and an EPP liner. And the reason for that is that each one of those liners is a different density. And the purpose for that is that when you go down, if you have a low speed impact, you're gonna want a liner that's a little bit softer to absorb that energy. You know, at a mid-speed crash, you need to be a little bit firmer, and then obviously for your high-speed crashes, you're gonna need a firmer density EPS, and that is why they utilize 3 different liners in there for those different speeds and impacts. But also, the name Flex comes from how that EPS or that liner system rotates and flexes inside the helmet. So again, similar to MIPS, it's offering you the same benefits, just in a little bit different way. Now also the Moto 9 S Flex is the only helmet up here that is Snell certified. So if you do want a Snell certified helmet, you will get that with this. Now there's 2 things with this that I feel could maybe be a little bit better. So one is that it's the heaviest helmet that is up here. You're in about 3 pounds, 7 ounces. So I wish the weight would come down a little bit. And then lastly too is the price. Bell, if you're hearing this, you've had this helmet out for a very long time. I'm pretty sure you've paid off the mold for this helmet. Bring the price down just so it bridges the gap a little better, because you go from the MX9 with MIPS from Bell, which is sub $200. It's almost a $400 price jump to get into the Moto 9 Flex for just these solid colorways. So please make this more affordable for more riders out there who want to get into this helmet but not pay such a steep price. Oh, last thing I have to say, magnetic cheek pads on this helmet, one of my favorite all-time features of any helmet. If I was building a custom helmet, had all the features that I loved, all combined into one, I would have the magnetic cheek pads because they're so easy to take out, so easy to put back in, and when you do go down, you want to be able to get the cheek pads out as easy as possible. These are the easiest cheek pads to remove that I have seen in any helmet. All right, last but not least, Fly Formula CC. So this actually comes down a little bit in price from the Bell. You're gonna be about $500. Here's what's awesome though, and this is going back to what I was talking about earlier, that trickle-down effect. This helmet is identical to the Fly Formula, which is their flagship model. The only difference between the two is that this has a carbon composite shell versus a full carbon fiber on the Formula. And what does that mean? Honestly, it's just about the weight. The Formula CC is gonna be an ounce or 2 heavier, but that's it. You're getting all the same technology from the formula into this. And here's some of the key things that they've done. They have their cone head EPS liner on the inside. Now the cone head EPS liner is meant to give as much progressive impact absorption as possible. And what's cool is that it allows them to use a softer density EPS. So for those low speed impacts, it can absorb that energy really well, but it still progressively firms up to absorb those impacts at those higher speeds. So it's a very progressive EPS. But on top of that, they have their energy cells that are made by Rheon. And you can see those inside there. These are big blue things. Two key reasons. One is impact absorption to go along with the EPS, but also they have what they say an active strain rate. In just in other words, when you have a big force that is applied to it, it firms up, kind of like D3O armor if you've ever heard of that. So when you have those, rotational impacts, it's there to help slow those down and mitigate that force. So again, it's kind of their spin on a MIPS liner system. And also too, you notice that you do have some raised portions here on the shell. So just like when I talked about with Lee Designs, Fly went through and put extra EPS in the areas that you're more likely to have those impacts to maximize that energy absorption. And also too, again, I have a formula. I love it. I will say that of all the helmets up here, this is probably my favorite fitting helmet. I think it's probably the most comfortable helmet that I own. And that's saying a lot because I have ridden in a lot of different helmets. So, and what's nice too, last thing, is that going to the Formula CC from the formula, you save yourself about $200. So pretty good savings there. And that does it. That is the mid-level helmet buyer's guide for 2023. Sorry if I was long-winded, but there's a lot to talk about. Hopefully this is kind of help you decide which one of these helmets might be best for you. Again, go watch the product spotlights where I talk about these in full detail. I'm a lot more thorough. Watch the entry-level guide, watch the premium helmet buyer's guide, and that's just gonna help you decide which one's gonna be best. Leave your questions, your comments down below. Click the link or head over to RockyMountainATVMC.com to see all these helmets and yours today. We have our fit guarantee. If you buy one of these, if you don't like how it fits, send it back to us in brand new, unused condition. We'll give you free shipping both ways on your first exchange to make sure you get the size and fit that is going to be best for you. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let's go. I'm Chase. We'll see you on the trails.